Well, joining me now is Kirralie Smith from Binary. Kirralie is on the front line fighting for the rights of girls, women and children against the radical LGBTIQA plus political movement, which is causing untold harm thanks to the lack of courage from our politicians. Kirralie, thanks for joining us again this week. Kirralie, a Radio Canada investigation has found children as young as 14 can get prescriptions for puberty blockers in the province of Quebec. Before 2017, no minor girls, that's a girl under the age of 18, had received a double mastectomy, yet last year there were 18, this Radio Canada investigation. A young woman by the name of Jane was sexually assaulted, wanted to transition. There's her image on the screen now with the bandages over where her breasts had been. She started testosterone at 16, got a double mastectomy and immediately regretted it. Kirralie, this has hardly received any media attention. It was an article written in French. This should be world headlines, shouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And look, let me say, first of all, they've got a long way to go to catch up to Australia. Our numbers are, skyrocketed beyond that. But it is absolutely appalling that this child abuse is happening, government-sanctioned child abuse, protected by legislation, where these young children who cannot consent to all the other things that we always talk about, such as tattoos and, other surgeries and marriage and drinking alcohol, and the list goes on, somehow we're meant to believe they can consent to drastic, irreversible treatments that leave them with more harm than good. We know that our brains have a lot of plasticity, that we can change our minds, but to change our bodies so drastically and so young, and then these poor girls have such deep regret because they've amputated perfectly healthy body parts for the sake of an ideology is just... It makes me want to weep, Lyle.
Yeah, no, me too. In fact, I posted that myself on X this morning. I said, read this and weep, because that's all you can do. That brave Radio Canada investigative journalist sent a 14-year-old actress in, so a child actress, into a gender clinic. Within 9 minutes, she was prescribed puberty blockers. People can go and find the article and Google Translate it. But Kirralie, the sad thing about Jane, whose image we just showed on the screen, she was sexually assaulted in 2020 and decided she wanted to transition to become a boy so that she wouldn't be sexually abused. This is tragic on a whole number of layers, isn't it?
It's incredibly tragic, and it's not an uncommon story. We know that autism plays a factor, but also trauma and abuse. Binary is about to release a book of 10 Australian stories, and that's a factor in these stories as well here in Australia, that we don't solve trauma by cutting off body parts. It's not the way you do it. We need compassion, care, and high-level counselling and psychiatric intervention to help these victims of assault.
Yeah, well, these stories just keep coming out, and it makes you wonder how long Australian politicians and indeed politicians in Quebec can hold out. As you and I have reported and discussed previously, England banned puberty blockers, the Scandinavian countries, so really Australia, Quebec lagging behind. Kirralie, just before the Easter break, there's been leaked recordings emerging of an emergency meeting of officials from Northwest Sydney Football. This is a soccer league here in Sydney, hosting officials from Football New South Wales and club delegates. They had quite a dilemma on their hands when a club won a soccer game with 5 males. What the heck is going on?
Oh, look, football, Northwest Sydney Football and Football New South Wales should be utterly ashamed and embarrassed. That recording is very damning to them, where they, I've heard it, they giggle, try and make excuses, trans women are women, ha, 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 if that's what they feel like, ha, ha. No, they're not. Trans women are men. Only men can be trans women. And they've had this emergency meeting with the club presidents and trying to... not very veiled threats, but threats nonetheless, saying that if teams get together to forfeit against the Flying Bats or against any other team with transgender players or trans-identified players, that there will be reprisals, repercussions, there will be disciplinary action and possible reporting for discrimination. And so they have proven that they have no intention whatsoever of protecting and promoting women, females in this sport, but they are going all out to protect the males, which is absolutely horrendous. And one club president shared a couple of years ago in that exact team, a male player tackled one of his female players and broke her leg in 2 places. The girl who went to help and then sledged the trans player, she was suspended and has never gone back to the game. The girl with the broken legs never gone back to the game. And 24 female players left that club because they don't want to play against males, and they've got no recourse with Football New South Wales, who refuse to help them and issue threats and sanctions instead.
Shame. That's all you can say. This is just unbelievable. The flying bats, people should keep an eye on that. And kudos to John Ruddock, the Libertarian parliamentarian in the New South Wales Upper House, who I'm not sure if he exposed that first. He certainly put the leaked recording that you just referred to on his X account, and I'd encourage people to go there.
You did a great job. Can I also just say, Lyle, these 5 male players can play in the male competitions. There's mixed competitions. No one wants to exclude them. All happy. We're all happy for them to play soccer or football or whatever you want to call it, but they should not be playing in a female competition. That should be for females only.
Yeah, and look, you know, again, it's the weakness of our politicians that's brought us here. During the 2022 election, as you and I have discussed previously, Senator Claire Chandler, one of the few brave politicians who's spoken out, had a bill to save women's sport, yet Scott Morrison said that was not part of his election agenda.